I want to talk about trauma and compassion, and let's get real. This is Eddie with a Mindful Emergence, where Margaret and I offer simple steps to help people get unstuck and access their own inner resources using mindfulness, movement, and breathing practices. So I titled this Trauma is No Joke, and I really don't think probably anybody watching this thinks it's a joke. But I don't know if we remember as much as we can just how much trauma is impacting us as a society, both across the board, but individually. And I've been thinking about this lately because I've been encountering a lot of people who are clearly struggling, not doing well, and their behavior exemplifies that, represents that. And, it's easy to look at people who act in a certain way and say, well, they're effed up or they a-holes, jerks, and these kinds of things. But I try to stop and remember that sometimes I act like that. Does that mean I'm an a-hole? Well, some people might say that. But the reality of it is that we've all had traumatic experiences. I really, really believe that. The more I work with people, the longer I've been in recovery, the more I've gone through my own personal experiences and researched this. We've all experienced trauma at some level, and it impacts us. And for me to not react to that person who is rude or cuts me off on the highway or acts in a certain way that I find unacceptable, I can react or I can pause and recognize, this person has probably been through a lot, just like me, and maybe just like you. And they're not at their best today. So perhaps I can pause and have compassion for them rather than judging them. But it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. And it's not uh, the way that I used to do things. And it's still difficult for me. But I believe the best way to go about doing this is to learn to have compassion for myself, because I don't believe that we can offer anyone else anything until we can experience it for ourselves. Some of you know I'm a survivor of severe Attica, a severe trauma. I was in Attica in 1971 during the uprising in which 43 people were killed. And to say that this was a traumatic experience is an understatement. Not only the incident itself, but the aftermath. And, I talk about that a lot. And I need to talk about it a lot because it's part of my healing. And over the years since then, the 50 years, I've had to do a lot of work around this. And I still struggle. I still have reactivity to situations that don't bother other people. I have an extreme noise sensitivity. Things bother me, noises that don't bother other people. I can't go to places that other people can go to. Here in Asheville, there's a venue called the Orange Peel, and there's great musicians that come here that I don't go see because I can't handle being in there. There's too much confinement. I was on a yoga class a few weeks ago where we were asked to wear masks, understandably. And I had this mask on and I'm going through the class, and all of a sudden I started feeling a panic attack coming on, this sense of confinement wearing the mask. Now, I've been wearing a mask all over the place, of course, but going through this class and trying to do the breathing and the movement was just too much. Other people were doing it fine. And I got up off my mat and I left the studio and I told the people at the front desk, I got to go. And I had to leave the studio, leave the building, and use the tools that I teach to help regulate my nervous system and ground myself. Breathe, extend the exhale, and notice what I'm telling myself about the experience. And it took some time, but after a while, I returned to what's called the resilience zone or the window of tolerance where I could start thinking clearly again and I felt okay. So, I could look at myself and say, well, I'm a freak. There's something wrong with me. Well, I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with me. But what I know is even after 50 years and after all the work that I've done, I'm still impacted by past trauma. And most people are. So, self compassion is the key. And here's the 3 steps that we teach. The first step is recognizing that we're struggling. When I'm having a hard time, can I pause and just say, yeah, this is really difficult right now? I'm struggling. And just to acknowledge that rather than just numbing it or plowing through it, denying it. Oh, I'm okay. Well, you know what? I'm not okay. This is hard. That's step one. Second step, just recognize this is part of being human. This is a human experience. We all struggle with anxiety, depression, stress, these kinds of things. It's just part of being a human being on this planet, especially in these difficult times that so many of us are going through right now with the pandemic and all the political stuff and all this. It's really, really hard. And whatever we're experiencing, whatever you're experiencing, it's just part of being a human being. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with us. We're not inherently effed up. Okay? That's step two. So this is hard. It's just part of being human. And the third thing, and this is the key to ask ourselves, what do I need to do right now to find balance? What do I need? Self care. And it might not be the same for you as it is for me. Maybe in a situation like that, you need to move your body. You need to go to the gym. You need to go for a walk. And maybe I need to take a nap. Or it could flip around. And one time I need to move my body. The other time I need to take a nap. What's required is I pause and really tune in and say, what do I really need? Maybe I need to go talk to somebody. Or maybe I need to get some quiet time for myself. So, it just depends on the situation. So, what I invite you to do is to acknowledge when we're having difficulty, recognize you're just going through a human experience, and ask yourself what you need. And when we practice self compassion for ourselves, maybe when someone else is acting in a way that we find difficult, we can pause and recognize they're struggling, they're having a hard time. And rather than judging them, perhaps we can pause and just say, I can have compassion for this person in this moment. So that's my invitation to you, and also a reminder to myself. So, anyway, I appreciate you listening to this. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you want more content, look around our YouTube channel and subscribe if you want more, if you want to know when more videos come out. And of course, we love your comments. Thanks.